Yeah. But Professor Alves also makes this really interesting point about how this whole recalibration thing could affect the U.S. relationship with their allies in Europe. Did you notice in the BBC article how European nations were completely left out of those talks in Jeddah?
Yeah, that really stood out to me. It seems strange to exclude key players like France and Germany from something this important.
Yeah, it definitely raises some questions about possible tensions within NATO. Professor Alves suggests that this could be a sign that the U.S. is shifting towards a more unilateral approach, taking charge of these negotiations without fully consulting their allies.
But isn't that kind of risky? If the U.S. pushes their allies away, wouldn't that weaken their position against Russia overall?
It's a gamble for sure, but it could be a strategic move on their part. Professor Alves points out that Europe, geographically, they've got a lot more at stake in this conflict than the U.S. does. So maybe the U.S. is calculating they have to act more decisively, even if it ruffles some feathers.
And there's also that line in the BBC article where the U.S.-Ukraine joint statement says that Kyiv reiterated that Europe should be involved in any peace process. It almost sounds like they're kind of throwing shade at the U.S.
It does have that undertone, doesn't it? It really highlights how tricky this balancing act is for the U.S.